The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, New Jersey. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I'm going to do something I don't think I've ever done on one of my shows. First of all, let me introduce you to our expert in Medicare, Stephen Fromm. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Steve. Thanks again for having me on the show. You have to bear my voice a little bit, so a little hoarse this morning.
Well, I'm going to ask all of our listeners, and we've got thousands of listeners, to put you in their prayers. Stephen has been having some health issues, and I know I'm going to put him in my prayers, and prayers do help, and we just want to pray for healing and that. Bro, you got to get healthy. I know you've had some amazing health issues, and we just want to keep you in prayer, bro.
I appreciate that. So I appreciate it. My voice is a little hoarse from everything that happened. So thank you very much. But I'm looking forward to our show this morning, helping seniors
Always.
as we do. Yep.
Yes. So, Stephen, gosh, there's been so many changes in Medicare. But before we get to that, tell people about your company.
Sure. First of all, my name is Stephen Fromm. I'm the owner of Fromm Insurance Services. I started the company back in 2018, and it's me and a few other folks at this point helping grow our company. Our job is to help seniors and make a positive difference in their lives, and we're doing a great job at it. I know I've got a lot of feedback from families. Very grateful and very thankful for all the great things that we do, specializing in Medicare, as well as some other parts of insurance industry. We're doing a good job, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you have built up an incredible company, and I want to say this before we really get into this. I'm on Medicare. I think it's the best thing since sliced bread, but I got to tell people, having a good agent. This is not a commercial now, because I had a horrible agent my first year of Medicare. And I want to tell people, it is so important that you have a good agent that understands the business and takes the time to understand your needs. Because I had completely the opposite my first year. And Stephen, tell people really how important it is to have a good agent.
Well, it's very important. And one of the things that we've just changed and modified, Steve, is we use what's called a client need analysis form. This form allows us to ask a lot of questions of the senior, gather all their information, and find out what's important to them. And of course, identify gaps in coverage that they may have so we continue to educate them. But one of the things that we have added to our client analysis right now is a question that says basically, what are you looking to accomplish today? What is your goal with our call today? What's important to you? And just by adding that simple question, it has really opened doors during our conversation with seniors. It's really allowed us to say to them, hey, what's important? What are you missing? What don't you understand? And this way we're able to, fine tune that, go to that point and educate them further, not just provide them a bunch of information, which they may or may not be aware of, but now it gets to the point of, wow, this is really important to them. So we found just by adding that simple one question is making a huge difference when we're having a meeting with a senior.
I got to tell you, one of the great parts about your company is you work with many different insurance companies. And why I bring that up is my first agent basically gave me one plan and said that's what I have to go with. He didn't even give me a choice. And that's what's so nice about being independent, Stephen, because you can give people several choices.
That is correct. For me, I'm licensed approximately, I want to say about 10 different carriers, as well as, and we're sitting here today in New Jersey and we do our Florida show, but I'm also licensed in 39 other states. So that really helps us, with people across the United States. But as you mentioned, very important, I'm able to do a very in-depth needs analysis with the seniors. Again, understand what's important to them and look at the various carriers in their area to help identify a plan that will best meet their needs. So we're very fortunate in that.
Absolutely. And now we're going to be concentrating on the Advantage plan. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. Open enrollment. The open enrollment is coming right now for Medicare Advantage plans. It's January 1st through March 31st. Excuse me. And during this period of time, someone who's on a Medicare Advantage plan, maybe they didn't choose the right plan during the annual election period, and maybe some of their doctors have changed. So it gives them an opportunity to change plans to a different Medicare Advantage plan, as well as maybe someone is on a Medicare Advantage plan and they want to go back to original Medicare Part A, Part B, and a Part D prescription drug plan. And with respect to the Medicare supplemental plan, if they choose to go back to original Medicare, unless they're in a special election period, they can choose Medicare supplemental plan, but they will have to go through an underwriting to see if they're approved for that. So again, all about educating, understanding the senior, what's important, what their current healthcare conditions may be. Also making sure that they know that Medicare Advantage plans are through independent insurance companies. Part A and B, original Medicare, is through the government. Medicare Original, Medicare Advantage plans, they are through independent insurance companies. So making sure everybody understands that distinction.
What's been your biggest surprise so far about Medicare in 2026?
Well, as we've done on, excuse me, as we talked about on other shows, there's been a lot of changes on Medicare Advantage, for example. A lot of the companies, insurance companies, are no longer offering certain plans or maybe moved out of service areas. So that has been a big impact for a lot of seniors. I've had situations where they're not offering any Medicare Advantage plans for that senior where they live. And that was the plan that best fit their needs. So that has been an issue. Part D prescription drug plans, with the cost of the premiums going up and the cost of the drugs, that's also a factor for a lot of seniors. So again, it's constantly educating everybody about these changes and helping them identify what we can do for them, with respect to Medicare, as well as respect to other ancillary insurance products that they may not be aware of that have been very beneficial for many seniors. Excuse me, I just had to take a drink.
I'm going to give you my top 3 questions that have come in regarding your show. The number one question now people are getting educated through your show is when should they start planning their Medicare when they become 65? How far out should they start planning?
Steve, that's always a great question. We call it turning 65, clients. And with respect to that client or anybody, it's called your initial election period. And what that means is it's 3 months before your birthday, the month of your birthday, and 3 months after your birthday. And during that period of time, it is when you can enroll in Part A, Part B. You can enroll in Medicare supplemental plan if you choose for original Medicare and your Part D, or you can enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. It's very, very important that a senior understand that during this period of time, they need to enroll, because if they don't, they could incur lifelong penalties. So we always want to make sure they understand that. And what I've been doing, honestly, for the first 3 months prior, for that first month, I've been helping the senior get enrolled properly through Social Security and Medicare Part A and Part B, because it does take a while for them to get their card. So by the second month, now we can really be talking and speaking about what's important, which plan is going to best meet their needs for them. So it is a process. It's a very, very important process that everybody understands. And honestly, that has been our biggest focus lately, educating people who are turning 65 how important it is to enroll during their initial election period.
Well, when we get so many letters about your show, and the first thing we do is give them your phone number and your website. But here's a question: I don't even know if you've gotten any calls about this. People are nervous now. It seems like older demographics toss out a lot of their mail. And people now seem like they're worried, Stephen, that maybe they tossed out their mail, that their insurance company was telling them they no longer have coverage there anymore. And they're afraid they're afraid, are they still insured?
It is a great question. I actually just had this conversation with my mom yesterday. She called me up and regarding a letter from WellCare, and she was like, she's had it for 35 days and she never opened it. So we had to go through that real fast to review a plan change for herself. So yeah, I mean, my own mom forgot to open her mail. So yeah, it does happen. These letters are not, they can be very indiscreet, and you might miss it. You and I miss mail sometimes. So it's very important that any letters you get from Social Security, any letters you get from an insurance company, that you read them right away, because it may be about a plan change that's going to occur in your area.
Got a funny story for you. My girlfriend and I have fights over, because we're both on Advantage, and I'm on the HMO and she's on PPO. And she thinks that because on a PPO plan that the doctors are better. And I'm trying to tell her I'm on HMO, and I've gone with the doctors that are in my group, and that's anywhere from orthopedic surgery to kidneys. The doctors have been fabulous. So I don't know, when you're thinking PPO or HMO, I've had no problems with the doctors that I've had to use.
And that's a very important distinction with respect to the HMO and the PPO. The HMO being a network, which works very well for you. You see your primary care physician. If you need to go see a specialist, they have to refer you to a specialist. And it's a network. And so we educate the senior with respect to an HMO, as well as you just mentioned with your girlfriend, the PPO. The PPO gives that person a little more leeway, I'll say, with respect to going to see a specialist, and sometimes out of network. It depends on the plan that they're enrolled in. There could be additional benefits. Coverage could be for an out-of-network specialist. It's a little broader than having an HMO, which is restrictive network. So again, really depends. When I educate the senior, learn about their doctors, learn about their prescription drugs, learn about maybe they need some of the ancillary benefits in the Medicare Advantage plan, and go through which plan is going to best meet their needs for this period of time. And of course, things may change. And during the annual election period, we're going to review their plans again. And maybe they go from an HMO to a PPO, or they go from a PPO to an HMO. Things are always changing. And that's why we, as I mentioned in previous shows to you, client for life. We build rapport and educate, and these are clients for life.
I think we talked about this on our Florida show. The president has met with some of the largest pharmaceutical companies, and he has been telling us that we're going to get discounts up to 80%, 85%. When is that going to start, and will that affect Medicare?
Of course, it's going to affect Medicare regarding, insurance carriers and their Part D plans and how they're going to cover certain drugs. It is in effect right now to a point, but that is still changing, and we need to follow that very closely. I have seen some drugs come down in cost. I haven't seen all of the drugs come down in cost, but again, it's very fluid, and we need to stay on top of that. I have a couple situations right now for a couple of seniors, and they take very specific drugs that are very expensive. We have seen a reduction in cost, but what is the true reduction in cost going to be? We don't know that answer yet. Things are changing. As I said, it's very fluid, and we take the time to keep abreast of all of these changes to, again, as I keep saying every program, educate, educate, educate. I think that really makes a difference on how we treat our seniors and families that we work with.
You know, one of the things I left out is my girlfriend does travel a lot. On the other hand, I am here doing our show every day, so I don't have that luxury. But that was one of the other things because she travels. Can you explain that with her
Well,
being on a PPO?
it gives her a little more flexibility to go see a doctor that's out of the network compared to you with HMO. You're restricted a little bit more. You're seeing your specialist and your primary care that are within a network. With the PPO, it's allowing her to travel, as you mentioned, see a doctor, if she needs to out of state. Again, the purpose of the plan is give her more flexibility within the Florida market. But if she does need to travel, well, then there are options in her plan that will provide her with some coverage. But again, every plan is different. So it's very important for us to look at the various carriers. And it's a very good question I ask all the time with every senior. Do you plan on traveling? That is one of the first questions we ask every senior. Do you plan on traveling? Because that is going to help us determine what is going to be the right plan for you. Very, very important question.
We just got a text from Micah in Newark. I found your show last month. Thank you so much for giving us so much educational information. You don't know how much this has helped me. I will be turning 65 next year. I will definitely be calling you. Will I be able to keep my doctor?
Again, always these are always great questions. And she's turning 65. Thank you for the opportunity to be calling us. We appreciate that. With respect to her doctor, yes, as long as her doctors are, accepting Medicare, she will be able to, continue with her doctor. Now, I say that with respect to original Medicare. With respect to original Medicare, if her doctor is accepting Medicare, then yes, she will be able to continue to see her doctor. Now, if we're looking at a Medicare Advantage plan, as we've mentioned in previous shows, with our software package, we're going to put in her doctor as well as her medications. And it'll give us some analysis of different Medicare Advantage plans because there may be some plans that her doctor is not in versus plans that he is. So again, we're going to look at both sides and see what works for our original Medicare or Medicare Advantage plan. But with original Medicare, there is a lot more flexibility than a Medicare Advantage plan at times.
Stephen, the more we do the show, it's so obvious why a person should have a good agent. I got a lot of letters, people going, hey, I saw the national commercials. They made these incredible promises. And one of the things we've learned is it could be different in another county. And it's amazing that people, I just tell them, you know what? Don't call the company direct. Call Stephen. And I'm telling you, he's going to give you multiple choices. We got a question in just now. What happens if I'm still working and have health insurance through my job? That's a good question.
That's a great question. There are certain rules that will allow that person, depending on the size of the employer, they can continue to have their employer coverage. And then when that terminates, they will have an opportunity to enroll into Medicare without any penalties. It depends on the size of the employer. That person will be enrolled in Part A, but they can defer Part B and not pay that premium as long as the employer provides them incredible coverage. So it really depends. Again, we do the needs analysis. I just did one last week with someone who thought is going to be possibly retiring, and he wanted to know if he keeps working, what does the employer benefit look like compared to Medicare? And, turned out that his employer plan was better for him at this point in time. So stays in the employer plan. And they appreciate that. They really respect the fact that, I'm going to tell them, hey, you know what? Your employer plan works better for you right now. I'm going to make a note in my system to follow up with you in a few months, check in, see how you're doing, because something may have changed. So it's a great question. It depends on the situation for every person.
Here's kind of an unusual question. Can my spouse get Medicare if they're not 65 yet?
They have to be 65 to get Medicare. If they're not, well, again, it depends. They could be below 65, and there are special circumstances. They may be receiving, Social Security disability for 24 months. And after that 24 months, they could be below the age of 65 and enroll in Medicare. I have a situation right now where a gentleman, family of 5, and he is 56 years old, and now he is eligible for Medicare. So he's going to enroll in Medicare, and we're going to get his family set up in a different healthcare plan. So again, every circumstance is different. And that is why we go so deep in our fact finders to determine what is going on with that family, to decide whether or not, Medicare makes the best, choice for them or decision at this point in time. But the answer, the question is, based on certain circumstances, the answer could be yes. But again, it's a fact finding.
Stephen, what makes for a great show? I've been doing the show 16 years now. And what makes her a great show is they go by so fast, just like your show. Tell people how they can reach you.
Sure. Well, they can reach me by giving me a call on my cell phone, which is 908-510-3418, or they can go to the website, which is www.my-last-name-from-FROMME.com. And on that website, we do have a form that allows the person to put their contact information, and it'll automatically come to me. And this way I'm able to follow up with them. So again, it's a simple phone call or going on the website to complete the form. And this way we can follow with them immediately.
Bro, you're the best. Hey, listen, have a happy holiday and
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. You're in our prayers. We'll see you next month, Stephen.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, my friend. That's Stephen Fromm. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.